All right, everybody, we are officially recording and welcome for our next AMA that we've had. We're going to be having them every couple of days now as we get closer to the reveal of our next utility. So this AMA will be about a half hour long. I know that it's really important that you guys get the updates right away and that you have time to ask them. But this recording, these slides, and then any other notes that I'll type up will come and follow in the chat. In case you have any afterthought questions or ideas, they will be there for you to, take a look at. So this is our, and just to, so we won't go beyond like a 30-minute AMA. So we started around, my time, 7:35. So we'll go into like 8:05 my time, 30 minutes. And I apologize if I sound a little congested. I'm getting over the flu. So it's just going around everywhere. But I've been working through it. It's almost over. I have my medicine. I'm ready and getting plenty of rest as much as I can to make sure I am in tip-top shape for our reveal, which is coming. So let's jump right on into it. So we are going to go over the gaming teaser, our funding update, because we do have updates on that. And I know that's a very important element that people have questions about. And then what our timeline as well looks like beyond that. So let's kick it off and take a look here at our gaming platform. So we have our teaser of the SOWL Educational Arcade. And with that, there's a lot of other characters that might show up and make cameos in our project. Those might be characters that collaborate with Hatchworks as well, or just characters that are built out in the game, because you have Saffron going on this journey, but Saffron's going to meet, some side characters along the way. But you see Saffron dead center, and it's really cool to have this on display. So when we'll take a look in just a second at the link, but this will be featured on our homepage of the SOWL Educational Arcade when SOWL Arcade goes live. Right now there are placeholders just until we go live on the actual mainnet, but it'll be able to show you how many times all of our games combined have been played, so that'll update in real time. It'll show you how many SOWL tokens have been won to date. So right now we just have a placeholder here. So of course that'll be updating in real time. And then also how many people have registered and, connected their wallet to be a player. So there's a lot of really cool things you get to do as a player. You get to access all of the games. You get to give suggestions for games. You get to log in. You get to see how many SOWL tokens you've racked up. But you know what? It's so much easier if I just show you in real time. So let's take a look at it ourselves. So we have here our platform. Now, this link won't work for you. Right now, it's password protected, but that's where that also comes in handy for our people who are NFT holders, which I'll get into later. But right now we are just working on a test link. So what you see on here is not our final product, because we are also, in addition to that, we're making sure that all of our SOWL branded games are on here. So again, you see some, placeholders in mind, and that is also strategic too. We want to gatekeep a little bit of what we have until we get closer to the release of this to the public. And also to show the people that are those NFT holders that they're getting something a little bit more specialized as well for being a holder. So what we're seeing right now is a, community-wide AMA. You're seeing some parts of it with placeholders just for the time being. So, excuse me. So, for instance, right here is where you'll see Saffron's Moonshot, our first featured game. So it'll show you how many times it's been played. It'll have what our genre is. And in this case, we know that it'll be our mathematics one. We'll know that we are the developers of that game. And then you're also going to have your educational resources here, because we know that, we're not just video games. We come with educational content, and that educational content and retention of that content can not only be qualified, but quantified through the gameplay. So you need to be able to have that educational, instructional element before you can really have an assessment. And in our case, the assessment is the game. So that's that beautiful unification between the teachers and the curriculum writers that we have and our game developers, is that we want to make sure that we are truly, truly standing out in the world of play to earn and learn to earn. We don't just want to be an educational platform where you can submit schoolwork that's on the blockchain or things like that. And we also don't want to be just a game that people can go and play. We want to really hit that area that doesn't have any saturation in it yet and be that unique and cohesive learn to earn through gamification. So taking learn to earn and play to earn and blending them into a new category that's really going to set the standard. I've always said, sure, a market can be saturated and you can go in there and do it better than everyone else, but why not find that angle that makes you stand out? And that's what I think we're achieving here with our arcade. So I'm incredibly excited for that. And because it's way more than we could ever imagine, right? So when we get into adding new games in, and you guys know we're going to be rotating and adding these new games in every couple of weeks, you're going to see them all popping up here. And right now, these are just placeholder images. And as you can see, these are ones that were like added 3 or 4 months ago, just to place them in there for now until we get a little closer and can show you guys, what we've been working on here. And then you'll also have here, you'll be able to access the Hall of Fame, which is really cool because when it comes time to sign up, you can log in using your email and, create an email password login. You can log in with your social media. You can also connect with your MetaMask and your Wallet Connect to be able to load in money if you ever want to purchase anything like add-ons, those power-ups. But there's also a bunch of different versions of how you can play these games too. And some of them require putting up some SOWL tokens. Now, before we get into looking at the games, I want to show you some really cool stuff. You'll have down here, of course, our home, our facts and questions, how to contact us. Our social media will all be linked here as well. You'll have our games. You'll have our gamers, because remember, as I had mentioned, you will have the opportunity to be able to play against other people that you're friends with. We might have a challenge going on. And being able to connect with those people that you add onto your platform, kind of as like a social network friend of sorts, you'll be able to battle against them. And I really think that when we think of a classroom and we think of education, we think of how socializing with others and that interaction, even on the blockchain, even online, is so important. And so being able to play against somebody, think of it as like a group project in school or having a partner or like a lab partner, being able to collaborate together. Sure, in this case, you might be playing against each other, but you're also testing your knowledge and your skills of something you've had time to learn. And sometimes, being able to test that and to be able to test that with somebody else can add an element of fun. So we'll have our leaderboard, and then we'll also have a really unique area as well where you can submit a game that you might find interesting. So this might be a game that you've already developed on your own. Maybe it's a game you've seen another project have, and you're like, hey, they have this play to earn game. It's really, really cool. I love it. And I could see you adding in an educational element here. And you share the link with us. Of course, we're not going to go and steal somebody's game, but we can look at the concept and we can obviously connect with that project, see how we can collaborate with them, show that our game would be inspired by, and of course, make sure we're doing all of the proper formalities. If we wanted to adapt a game that's similar, how we would give, obviously, that credit to that idea and concept to them. But also you're showing us, what you like. Now, if it's a game that you haven't seen developed, but you just know in your head, you're like, you know what, I've wanted so badly to be able to learn chemistry, and I have this amazing idea for a game that could help people do it. You type it out and you share it with us here. I keep saying to our holders and to our community that, it can't just come down to our team. It comes down to you guys, because without a community, without holders, and without a, active chart, who are we? What are we if I'm the one making all of the decisions, or our team is making all of the decisions? So that's why we wanted to add a suggestion area there for games, because if you have an idea for a game that you like, or you've seen an idea, then that also tells us, hey, this is what the people want. That means they're going to play. And so if you guys are playing, then that's great for us. It's great for the chart. And then right back to you, it's great for your bag. One element that you don't see on here right now that you will also have an opportunity to see right now, they're kind of hidden, are our ad placements. And that actually segues well into looking at our timeline here, and then also looking at our funding opportunity. So I'll kind of switch gears real quick just to make sure that we're staying on track with our time as well. So obviously, in the event of an emergency, you never know what this world is going to bring us. I've learned to not be surprised by anything. But that's conditioned to me to be a very prepared person. So just in the event that anything ever happened, these are subject to change. But this is a loose timeline of what we see for our gaming platform. Then I'll go back over. We'll look at some games. We'll look at those features. Right now, our team that's building and making sure that all the games are getting transferred over that we have are all set. They're testing with, some real SOWL tokens, just making sure every element of it, whether you're buying something like a power-up or you're doing a duel or a battle or anything like that, we want to make sure that any opportunity you have to exchange SOWL tokens on there works perfectly. So you're not going to see like the buying or selling of our game devs of tokens, but you will probably see it getting shifted around a lot, like the same amount, because they might say, hey, well, I need to practice paying this amount in to get this power up. And then they say, hey, can you send it back to me real quick? So if you see movement of the same amount of tokens, it's them testing it out on the platform, but they're not doing that with the purpose of selling them. They're doing that with the purpose of making sure that when they are buying something in the arcade or they're putting money up in an effort to earn some as rewards, that all that is working seamlessly. So I just wanted to disclose that to you guys, make sure you knew there would be some movement of tokens around, but that's for testing. That's going to happen probably just for a week. I'm saying to just, to have some grace with it. I would rather us just give us that wiggle room to make it absolutely perfect, if that means it's going to pay off in the end. Then we'll have a week of NFT holder access testing out the games, along with a week of ambassadors and influencers having access to testing those games as well. Somebody had asked about the ambassadors earlier. I'll actually be with Lady Luck the weekend of June 3rd. I wish they were under better circumstances. Her mom did pass away, but I'll be with her that weekend. But we're also, half of that is honoring her mom. The other half, she said, we got to sit down and we got to talk business. So we're going to do 50-50 when I see her the weekend of June 3rd. And by then, we're going to be really moving and grooving. So, but in case people were wondering, I'll be with her in person then that weekend, and also chatting with Mo Ager as well, who's another one of our leading ambassadors. We have 2 younger influencers / ambassadors that you guys will be meeting very soon, but we have some behind the scenes work going on with them. But that's an angle we're very excited to take. So then from all of the testing, when everybody's like, this is going to be amazing, because I already know it's going to be amazing, we will have the marketing that begins leading up to the release of those, or the release of, all of those games. And then a couple weeks later, investors will come in with their peak marketing, or lining up with our peak marketing as we release the SOWL Educational Arcade. And then the game will be available with the web browser connection first. As much as I want to release everything at the same time, I want to get it out as soon as possible to you guys. So you'll get the web browser version first, where you connect with MetaMask or Wallet Connect, where you just play for free. And you could do that also from your phone. Or, you could also then, wait. It'll be available on Android and then Apple App Store. And then the one area that I didn't touch on just yet that you'll also eventually see as well, which we've been talking about, our screenshots just have them hidden for now, is our source of ad revenue. So the way that ads will live on the site, you have perfect spots here on the left and right for some skyscrapers, as well as some banner ads down at the bottom, or before you go and, play a game, or you're looking at the different games, having a pop-up ad occur. Now, we want to make sure that we're not putting so many ads that they negatively affect a user's experience on the platform. I'm somebody as a consumer that hates to see a lot of ads, and I'm like, get away. But now, from a marketing standpoint or from a project owner standpoint, I know that anytime an ad pops up, you're making money. With that being said, though, we don't want that to be a turnoff to the people that have been so dedicated to us. So we have some very unique ad placements that we know are still going to have a pretty high CPM and really boost our ad revenue. And as you guys know, 50% of the ad revenue that comes in for us goes directly into token buybacks. So as those ads start to pop up, which you'll see, just know that if you were to click on one, now I don't say go spamming them and clicking them, because that'll get them turned off. But if you were to see an ad, just know that you seeing that ad pays for money that goes right back into the chart. So just another revenue source for us with our advertisers that we already have lined up. And then Again, a lot of these games here that you see, these are just placeholder ones right now as we're putting in our games as well. But I really like that you can search by different genres, whatever you're interested in, and you'll see our different genres as well. And then you'll also be able to look at which ones are very popular by the majority of plays. You might say, hey, I'm putting some soul tokens up. Let me see which games have won people the most soul tokens. You could go there. You have the opportunity to rate any of the games, and maybe you want to go to the highest rated game, or you see that there's some sort of battle royale or challenge happening amongst 8 or 9 holders, and you want to get in on the fun, and you can search those ones that have tournaments happening. So there's a lot of different things you can do. And you could choose whether you want to challenge another holder here when you go to click on a game. If you want to just play it, you can. I'm just going to pick on him because I saw him in the chat. If Hitman wanted to say, hey, you know what, he's going to reach out to his community and say, you know what, I'm going to battle the first person that reaches out to me here for 1 million soul tokens in this game. You could challenge that person. You've either added them as a friend already or you put in their wallet address. And if they have an account, it tells them, hey, Hitman's challenging you to play the 2048 Meister. You could accept. You put up the same amount that he's putting up. The winner takes the pot. So that's up to you guys to decide on your own. And you can't start a challenge unless both parties agree. And that's for safety purposes as well. So Hitman's not going around and, forcing people to beat him at this game and taking their tokens. So there's that option. Or, and I'm also just saying Hitman because he is here in the chat and because he has a pretty large community and we have a partnership with them as well. So if he didn't challenge against another holder, he could play just against the computer himself and try to earn tokens out of our specified amount. He could just play for free to practice, or he could get a whole, war, battle royale, or tournament started. He could maybe set that up in his community and say, we're having a soul and extravagant calls showdown for this game. Go register by this time. It's only for the first 20 people. You all have to put up, 200,000 soul tokens, however many that is. That's barely anything, but you get enough people in. Well, that's barely anything right now. But you get enough people in, that pot comes to be pretty large. And then, after maybe 24 hours of gameplay, highest score on the leaderboard takes the pot. So you have a lot of opportunities here, and we wanted those opportunities to also be able to provide an element of strategy. I think that's also a part of education too that comes into play. So just in this, situation, I'm picking one that's here as a placeholder just to show you what it looks like. But you'll be able to play the game. You'll have the description here. There's going to be different activities related to the game. You'll be able to read some reviews. You'll be able to see the leaderboard. So after you make an account, and this also comes in handy with your NFTs, you can make your picture here instead of this, clown that might haunt you in your dreams tonight. If you have a clown fear like I do, if you wanted to change it to your owl NFT, you could. And if you're the highest scorer of this game, then you're going to be there on that leaderboard. If there was a war under this game, say Hitman did have an extravagant calls showdown here, it would show what the outcome was. It's really cool. You're able to write a review, thumbs up, say maybe it's my favorite. So you, instead of searching through all 130 games, you can come to your favorites, but also you get some news updates over here. So maybe MJ just got the newest high score. It's going to make sure everybody knows to look out for him and to know that he's now the new leader of this game. That could mean maybe somebody wants to challenge him for that top spot. Or, it's also bragging rights over here too. And you get to see who these, big players are. And I think it's kind of a bit of bragging rights too, because you work hard for what you're earning here. So you have a dual option. You've got challenges that you need to be logged in for. But either way, if you just wanted to play for free, you could do the how to play, read the instructions. But I also like, in this case, rather, you don't have the educational element in this one just yet, but you're going to start seeing all of those educational games and resources beforehand. Again, just a placeholder one to show you guys the mechanics of, really how some of these games here can be mindless fun and strategy. Other ones, you might even start to notice, hey, I just realized this is probably where the questions are going to pop up. like for instance, with myself playing right now, maybe once I hit, a certain score, you'll see, oh, add up the numbers of all of these balls that are still sitting here, or something like that. So I'm just like mindfully playing right now, but that also will be compatible on the web. It'll also be compatible on your phone. You'll be able to go back and forth. The one thing I will say is you can't have two games open at one time simultaneously, scoring and earning tokens at the same time. It won't allow you to. So just have one game open at one time. And that's another safety thing too. We don't want one person having like a bunch of tabs open and somehow, who knows, if they're just switching around, moving fast, having multiple people under one account. We just don't want it to feel like it's being manipulative. So you'll play one game at one time, kind of like you're at a real life arcade and you're going in and, you can't have your one arm hitting the buttons on this console and your other arm hitting them on this console and then your foot. So, we just wanted to make it fair in that purpose. So yeah, let's see what else we've got going on here now. Just to quickly recap, we've seen these slides before they've been published. These are just sharing everything I showed you guys just now. And this is our final part that we're getting to here, along with what I see us, projecting with what we have coming. So with what's next, we still do have our private venture capitalist firm in Fort Worth, Texas. They're holding their initial principal bags that they put in from our last marketing campaign. And they are still active, still checking out the chart, still checking out the chat. They're in our group. Really now they know what the buying power and dedicated community looks like, and also know what the Jeeps look like and what to look out for to make sure that all of us that have been here from the beginning can really maximize on this opportunity of not just our utility of the arcade being released, but knowing that our merchandise store, D-App, will come after, which you can buy things with SOWL tokens, and our staking opportunities as well. They also know that I've done a lot of in-person pitching, so I just included this image of me on a panel that I spoke at a couple weeks ago, where I was actually surprised. I was expecting around like maybe 40 to 50 people that were going to come, and over 180 came. So I was very fortunate for that. But we talked about meaningful marketing opportunities and timing wise, making sure that any marketing dollars aren't being wasted. So we did have to put some marketing dollars behind our first push that we did to really do a good astute analysis of what this buying power looks like. And now that we know when our arcade is able to come out, when people will have had a thorough review of it, and knowing who we're going to be able to reach out to about these games and how our influencers and ambassadors are going to have a direct role in sharing it, it could really be bombastic. And I mean that in like the most powerful and positive way possible. So I will tell you, when they are making their purchases, and they did say that this is how they can share that, very interesting. And I'll actually be very curious to see if anybody wants to share their thoughts in the chat after. Just in your experience, I know a lot of you guys, and we'll wrap up here in just a couple of minutes. I know a lot of you have purchased and bought into other projects too and studied charts. We've actually found, and correct me if maybe this is a coincidence, but I don't think it is, when the buys come in at 0.01 BNB, a couple things happen. One, making those buys at that amount actually increase and show that more consistent volume for a longer time. And the longer that volume happens, the more we're seeing an increase on our chart in terms of the market cap. We're also seeing that more frequent buys are alerting people on charts like CoinMarketCap and Crypto.com and CoinGecko, which they did have a glitch on their site today, and we should be back up and running any day now. So thank you for somebody who alerted us to that. If you still see us on the Gecko terminal, which you do, we're fine. So it was just a matter of them coming up with a whole category of just for exchanges, just for NFTs, and just for tokens, and just for coins. So we just kind of got shuffled, but that's getting fixed. So I'm glad that somebody brought that to our attention, and then we brought it to theirs, and we're all good. So anywho, when they buy at 0.01 BNB, you know it's them. So I just wanted to put that out there, and they're comfortable sharing that. So now let's get into some inspirational images of things that we know we are able to see again. Here's one. just to remind you guys of what we are capable of. Here's when our market cap was 1.6 million without our utility. It was just the idea of our utility. We had almost 267 BNB in the pot, so a little over double what we have now, and we're going to get back there, especially looking at that volume. We're coming, baby. Here's another one. Remember, these good old days are going to be back before you guys know it. Remember, this is without our utility out there. So just imagine what's going to happen when we deliver on our promises. Take a look. These are some of our average soldier involvement. We know the buying power is coming. We've got more of our billboards, our banner ads. We've got our top tier zip codes, which in the US are just like areas that have really high paying and high quality buyers and investors. We've got a lot of different banner ads that are going to be running. And then in addition to these press releases here, you know, we've been featured on Bloomberg, Yahoo, Bloomberg, and NASDAQ. But now we've also, you know, we have our BSC News. But we also have a couple others. We've been in talks with a couple other big name publications, a couple of big YouTubers, and thank you guys to all of the ones that you've suggested. A lot of the suggestions that have come from you guys, I've reached out to those people already and let them know that we have fans of you know, their work in our group and how we can work together. So before we, you know, spin the wheel again, when we got started here about 5 minutes in, we locked in that wheel. So we'll spin that in a second. I'm just going to answer a couple quick questions in the chat. So if there's any that you guys can think of that you have a question on and you want to write it in the chat, then please do so. All right. So I'm going to leave this up here. I know that everything is going to be worth the wait, but it looks like Hitman has a question. VC fundings and ad revenue coming. Is the team considering removing transaction tax entirely? That is a great question. So I've definitely noticed that. We've actually had some discussions about that and seeing how do we want to expand our project altogether, because ultimately we know we want to have our own blockchain that other educational-based projects can live on. So if we have that, do we end up having a DAO/governance token and just a gameplay token that has no tax on it at all and is strictly used for gameplay? That's definitely a thought that has crossed our mind. So I'm really glad that you have mentioned that. I agree. I think that high volume and, you know, free promotion from influencers and even exchanges have been happening. I keep saying if I see one more Pepe project, I'm going to put Pepe into our project somehow, even though I don't want to, it's everywhere. And I know the meme phase will die out a little bit, but looking at some of those projects, their taxes are very low. So that I'm actually really glad you mentioned that. And I'll be curious. I think I'm going to put a poll out to our holders too to see what do we want to look at for the future of our project, because coming out with a utility is one thing. But if we want to be a utility and a gaming platform and have merchandise and have staking and all of these opportunities, do we stick with what we have here, or do we really expand in ways that we do have the funding for? So stay tuned for some ideas and feedback that we would like from our holders based on other projects that you've seen. It definitely also makes it easier to, And I'll say too, Hitman, because you've been here from the very beginning, we did launch tax-free. We did. And many of you guys might remember that we didn't have that tax in the beginning. Now the team wasn't making any tax revenue, so that was a bit of a hit we took, but it got eyes on our project. And if people are looking for those tax-free or very, very low tax projects, then that's something we might talk about. I agree. I'm glad that you brought that up. Remember, I'm open to everything you guys say. Anytime you guys mention something, I write it down. I won't show you all my notes, but I keep a notepad everywhere I go. All right, let's see what else we have here. Yes, we did reach our all-time high then. Yes, so BSC News on the NFT release, I have been talking with them. We are going to wait to do like a massive push out with them where we talk about the SOWL ecosystem. So that graphic will actually be coming out hopefully this weekend. I'm just making some final updates with Tiff, but we're going to talk a little bit more about how the whole entire SOWL ecosystem works. So from going from being a holder to purchasing an NFT, to being able to use the NFT perks in the arcade, to be able to earn tokens in the arcade, which you'll then be able to spend on merchandise or stake, and then being able to take those rewards and then putting them back into the arcade. It is an entire flow and ecosystem. So we did think about doing a feature on that, but we think that it might fit better with a purpose behind them, and that is the whole ecosystem. So we're going to have that come out and debut with our arcade utility. Darth said, nice presentation. Any number on the investment that we can reveal at this stage? In full transparency, can you give me the weekend to ask them about that? And then once I get the go-ahead on sharing an amount, I can disclose it. But just out of respect for them, if you don't mind me taking the weekend to ask them first what number they're comfortable with me sharing, I will ask. I can say it's more than what we put in our first push. I will say that. I am allowed to say that right now. So, but that is also a good question. And I think that that's also transparency that's worth knowing, or knowing a range. But yes, if I keep a notebook everywhere, I'm going to put ask about amount. Yeah, because I know I always, for legality purposes and contractual purposes, I like to err on the side of caution. So let me just chat with them first. But let's see what else we got here. Questions to be answered. Yes. So what I'm going to do, and I think what will be able to help just to make sure that we all have a good understanding here before we go, and I don't want us to go over our time too much. I'm going to share the slides. I'm going to share the recording of our AMA. And then I will also type out a lot of the key points as well so that they can be translated and answered based on each group that they're going to go into, because we have some of our different groups around the world that want to have this translated as well. So that will be able to provide a lot of answers to your questions. All right, so to wrap things up, those of you that were here at the first 5-minute start, I put your names into the wheel. We will spin. If you've already won something before, I love you, but I am going to, not have your name in there just to have some other people earn some as well. And some of you have asked, and you said not all 119 NFTs have been minted yet. And that's because we saved some for giveaways for you guys. So I'm going to spin the wheel now. And again, these are the people that I've been able to log that were here when I hit the record button. So if you don't see your name on here, I do love you to pieces. We will have more giveaways, but this was just when I went and hit the record. We'll probably have another NFT giveaway in a couple days with our next AMA. So if you aren't on this one, let's get you on that next one. All right. So we are doing a little spin. I've got people here. All right. These are the ones that were there at the start. As long as there are no objections. It doesn't look like there are any objections, because I wanted to make sure that I was fair in locking in those names. All right, here we go. Let's see who's going to get an NFT. And if you do, also just know they are going to be any giveaway NFTs that'll be getting sent out to you guys will come when we are ready for you guys to get into testing mode. So let's see who's going to get one. Hitman. Now that you guys all saw, I clicked it once, I spun it, so congratulations, Hitman. I think it would be really cool to see what you end up doing with that, so shoot me a DM. If you guys aren't familiar with Hitman, he has a wonderful call channel, Extravagant Calls. He's been with us from the very beginning. Their entire community has, actually, and they really rallied for us when we did our launch on Pink Sale, and they actually took us under our wing when we had nothing but a story to share. And ever since then, their community has stayed with us and has supported us all this time. I think some of you in the chat here are actually from his call channel. So if you are, please let us know. Hitman, we'll chat about plans for that and, really plans for the future. But we're going to do another one of these likely over the weekend, or maybe, right at the start of the week, because we still do have some of those NFTs to give away to people. So that's pretty cool. And again, I know some of you guys in here too have communities as well. So other communities as well that you either host AMAs in, or you have your own call channels, or you're familiar with one. We do have a couple giveaways we can still do. So if we want to do like a collaboration with another community that you're involved in and give away one of those remaining NFTs we have, shoot me a DM, and let's make those connections happen. I love doing those partnerships with people. We have a strong partnership with Kiwi now, and really just a wonderful growing relationship with them. Their community on our Discord channel has also been extremely supportive. So if you haven't been introduced to the Kiwi team yet and their project and their community, they are great people. So please go ahead and introduce yourself to them. We love Extravagant Calls as well. We love so many other communities here too. Oh, and see, yeah, so Lucky is from Hitman's group, Extravagant Calls. So yeah, guys, I think another thing to mention too, one of the comments up here, and then I'll wrap up, similar to how, I showed some screenshots of when we hit our all-time high. These were very early times on our chart. Well, not super early, but earlier, right? And I want us to get back to this. And one of the things that was really strong for us here during, these times on our chart was when our partnerships were the strongest as well. So if you're a part of another community and you really like the vibes over there, and you think that our vibes also kind of blend well with that, then please, introduce us. Let's continue to believe in strength in numbers. We want to be on the right side of crypto history. I think we are making a lot of history with what we're building out here, and I can't wait. I have a lot of work to do on my end in terms of just getting everything ready for the big day. I know you guys are looking for dates, you guys are looking for numbers, and you're looking for matter-of-fact things on the calendar. Give me this weekend to get those things ready. That doesn't mean come knocking on my door Monday morning and be like, where is it? But just know that this weekend, even though some people don't work, I work every day as much as I can. And I've given up everything for my love for this project and for my love for all of you guys. You guys make this worth it every day. And I'm so proud of where we are. And I'm so eager and so competitive and so determined to have our chart look like this again. I'm not going to stop until it does. And I'm not even satisfied with this one as much as I'm satisfied with the volume that you guys see on these ones here and these buys that were coming in around the holidays. I mean, they blow me away, and I won't stop until we're back there. And I hope that you all are encouraged and motivated to stay with me and know that I'm coming back with a vengeance, and we're not just going to be there. We're going to be double that. We're going to be triple that. I'm not going to stop until we are. So no matter what, if you hold you're here with me until we get there. This is my life. This is everything to me. And this is what I do full time, all the time. This is it. So let's really grow together. Let's show our support. Let's bring people in and know and trust the process and know that it's worth the wait and that it's ready for us. What we need to do to get us back here, it's here. It's sitting and waiting, and it's waiting for that perfect time. I mean, the perfect storm has really been built for us. Being able to load up on BNB when it's about to hit the $200 range. I mean, right now it's like $309, I think. It is so low. This isn't financial advice, but that opportunity was perfect for the people that are coming and buying in when the utility is released, because they were able to get so much more BNB while it's at a low price. So when you look at things, at a strategy angle, and you look at it like that and timing wise, just please know every single thing that the Soul Token team is doing is meaningful and has purpose behind it. And I hope and pray that you trust the process and that you believe in me and that you see that everything that we've been building from the beginning of the pandemic to where we are now, it's going to be worth it. And I'm so beyond excited to be on this journey with you guys. And I'm not going to take up any more of your time here. I know we're at the weekend now, so whatever you do this weekend, stay safe, spend time with loved ones, and be back and checking for updates, because you're going to be getting a lot of them very soon. So I will go ahead and stop our recording now at 39